You can use assembly arrangements to define alternative positions for one or more components or subassemblies of your part. Using a cylinder assembly, I will show you how you can not only display the piston rod in the retracted and extended state, but also how you can use a trick to create a continuous arrangement. The piston rod can only be moved between the minimum and maximum. The assembly consists of two components, the piston rod and the piston. The first step is to mount the assembly. For this, it is recommended to place the first component useful and to define it completely. The reference set entire part can preferably be set for positioning. To do this, select the two components. You can change the reference set using Replace Reference Set by right-clicking. This makes the coordinate system of the individual part visible and selectable. Check whether the corresponding layers are switched on. Go to the assembly constraints and select the touch constraint. Set the filter to CSYS. This ensures that it is only possible to select the coordinate system as a whole object. With this trick, you can position and fully define a component using only two selections. Next, the piston rod is arranged over the center line of the rod and over the center line of the piston. Use the touch constraint for this as well. A parallel constraint prevents the piston rod from rotation. For the parallel constraint, first select the XZ plane of the original coordinate system, then the XZ plane of the piston rod coordinate system. Confirm the dialog with OK. Do you actually know how to apply such decals to a cylindrical surface? I'll show you how it works in another video. Follow the video info card or the link in the description. After mounting the assembly, the reference sets of the components should be set back to modeling, since the coordinate systems are currently no longer needed. In order for the piston rod to be able to move within arrangements, the properties of this component must first be checked. To do this, make sure that the individually positioned option is active in the Parameters tab. In order to move components using a distance value, the distance constraint must always be used. This condition uses an expression whose value can later be specifically changed and controlled. Best practice in this case is to use the center of the piston rod's joint for the first selection. To do this, the point dialog must be opened in order to select the center using the Between Two Points method. Select the circular arcs of the hole. The existing point of the origin coordinate system can be used for the second selection of the joint. The distance constraint is now centered in the negative x direction. Note that the setting for the distance is set to driving. This is understandable, since the distance can be controlled via a value in the current situation. The first trick is to change the condition to driven. To do this, you just need to activate the boxes for the upper and lower limits. Uncheck distance. Right-click the top assembly node and select Arrangements, and then Edit. The next step is to create all possible arrangements and name them one by one. The piston rod requires an arrangement-specific position. A component has arrangement-specific position in an arrangement if it can be moved in that arrangement independently of other arrangements, also known as individually positioned. Select the constraint with the right mouse button. To be able to individually control the distance constraint in arrangements, select Edit in Arrangements. In this dialog, you can specifically define the arrangements and specify the value assignment individually. First, you select the arrangements and set the constraints as specific. Now define the limits for each arrangement individually. The trick is to set the following limits for each arrangement. The continuous arrangement receives 780 millimeters for the upper limit and 530 millimeters for the lower limit. The end arrangement, minimum or retracted, receives 530 for both the upper and lower limits. The final arrangement, maximum or extended, therefore receives the value 780 for both limits. Test how the arrangements work. To do this, select the top-level assembly node with the right mouse button and select the arrangement's end and final one after the other. To test the continuous arrangement, first select it. Now move the piston rod within the defined limits using the Move component function or with the constraint dialog open. Note that it is not possible to move the piston rod beyond the limits.